Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Creative Adventures. It is a Thursday night and I have finally gotten a break to make that second batch of soap, that second kit that I ordered from Brambleberry. I'm actually really excited to make this one. So I finally tried the last batch of soap we made. It has not completely cured, but it has completely saponified. It actually only takes about 2 weeks to fully saponify. So I broke it out last night and I tried it and I am absolutely in love. Like, it smells divine. It actually lathered really well, better than the liquid soap that I normally use with my loofah, and I was still able to use my loofah with it. And I got a ton of lather off of it. It smelled so good and my skin felt so good afterwards. So far I'm really loving this hobby. So I'm really excited to try this new one because I think I'm gonna like this scent better. I'm not a huge fan of lavender. I used it last night in the shower, which is nice at nighttime because it's a good relaxing scent, so it's perfect for that. For my morning showers, I don't really want to use something like lavender. So this one, if you will remember from my unboxing video, this one uses orange 10X essential oil and yuzu sibilla. And it's a very strong citrus scent. And this one's kind of like the orange is kind of like a sweet orange scent. And then the yuzu is kind of like a musky citrus scent. Not really orange, but just a musky citrus scent. So I think that this will be like amazing to use first thing in the morning to wake you up. So I just also really like that combination. The last recipe that I made also already had the oils pre-mixed for me, and I'm still not sure what was in those oils. I just know that it was a mixture that was designed for lots of lather. This one came all in separate oils, so I'm having to mix them myself. We've got 4 oils today and a butter, so this is going to be a very rich moisturizing bar of soap. And we also have calendula petals to go in one side of the soap, which is going to give it some nice exfoliation. So the oils that we are using today are palm oil and coconut oil. These are our 2 hard oils. And then we also added quite a bit of rice bran oil and some castor oil. The butter that we're using is shea butter. See what I mean? Really nice, luxurious bar of soap. I can't wait to try this one. The mold that we're using today is also really cool. It's kind of big. This is a 4-pound batch of soap, so it's actually twice as big as the last batch of soap that I made. This is actually a vertical mold. It is meant to stand up like this. And it's really cool because it's a hard plastic mold on the inside, but it has a divider that goes right in the middle. So what you do with this is split your batch into 2, and that way you can color it separately and then pour each batter down one side of the divider at the same time, filling each side up at the same rate, and then you pull your divider out and it leaves you with a 2-colored bar of soap. So one of our sides of the soap is going to be colored with this fizzy lemonade yellow colorant. You can see how bright that is. But that side of the soap is also going to have the orange 10X essential oil, which in itself is an orange color. So it's going to end up turning that side of the soap a really dark, almost orange color. And then the second side of the soap will remain cream color, I guess, but it's the side that will have the yuzu in it, but it will also have the calendula. So the color of the calendula is going to play off the color in the other side of the soap. Okay, so I already have my lye water mixed up. I didn't really see a point in doing all of that mixing on camera since I did a full in-depth video of soap making last time. So I will leave a link to that up in the corner. So if you've never made soap before or you want to watch the whole process start to finish, it's a much longer video, then go check that one out. But most of this mixing I'm going to do off camera just to keep this video a little shorter and because that mixer is really loud. Alright, I've got my oils all heated and mixed up in my big bucket, and they're at about 107 right now. My lye water is about 115, so they're still within 10 degrees of each other, so this is perfect. So this is sodium lactate. This recipe doesn't actually call for this ingredient, but this is an additive that you can put in any soap recipe that will help your bars harden and harden faster. So the usage rate on this is 1 teaspoon per pound of oils, we've got about 2.75 pounds of oils. This is a 4-pound batch of soap, but 2.75 pounds of oils in the recipe. So I'm gonna use 3 teaspoons of this and mix this right into my lye water. Now, before I mix anything into my oils, I'm actually going to siphon off just a little bit. If I can find my pipette. What did I do with it? Oh, here it is. It's right in front of me. So I'm gonna actually siphon off. This is a 3 ml pipette. So I'm gonna siphon off 9 ml of the oils from my batch and add them to this little cup of my colorant. This is the Fizzy Lemonade colorant. It's a teaspoon. So I'm just gonna take 3 of these pipettes. And now I'm going to use my little mini mixer. It's actually just a milk frother. I bought it on Amazon. All right, so we're gonna first just kind of get our colorant mixed into the oil so we don't have any explosions of color. And there, that just disperses our colorant in a little bit of oil ahead of time so that, like in the last video, I don't just dump it in and it clumps up and sticks to the sides of my bowl and doesn't fully get mixed in. This just helps it get dispersed throughout our oil a little bit better. So I'm gonna set that off to the side for now, and now we are ready to mix our lye into our oils. Okay, we're gonna pour our lye down the shaft of the stick blender to try to prevent any bubbles, too many bubbles. And we're just going to mix this to a very light trace. All right, we're just at a light trace for that. I'm going to go rinse my, oops, I didn't do that. I'm going to go rinse my measuring cup out because I'm actually gonna use this to divide my batter because this is a 4-cup measure and I know I need about 4 cups to split them off properly. Okay, so I'm just going to pour, let's see if I can turn this where I can see the mark. Pour about 4 cups into here. This one I'm going to make the orange, and this one I'm going to make the yuzu because I need a bigger bucket because I'm gonna be putting quite a bit of that calendula, this stuff, into this side. So, first things first, I'm going to add my colorant to this one. And actually, I'm gonna use a whisk to whisk in my fake fragrance so that I don't accelerate trace too much. So for this one, it's gonna be the yuzu because it's not gonna discolor. And I need the whole 2-ounce bottle of this. So I'm just gonna dump the whole thing in. And I'm gonna use my, oh, that smells so good. Oh my God, that smells so good. Okay, I'm just gonna use a whisk to whisk that fragrance in really well. Okay. Oh my gosh, that smells so freaking good. Okay. All right, and I'm gonna get my scale real quick. And I'm going to, well, first let me pulse in this color. Let me just do that real quick. Look how pretty that is. It's a very muted yellow, but it's very pretty. All right. That's why I wear gloves, people, so I can just use my hands. So it's easier. This one I'm gonna get my scale back out because I'm using the orange 10X and this is a 3.5 ounce bottle, so I only need 2 ounces of it. So we're just gonna measure that out this way. Well, that's great. And I made a mess, but that's okay. That's okay. All right, get my stick blender back out and just give this a couple of pulses. Look how bright yellow that made that. That's really pretty. I think I could have made a bigger mess if I tried. Seriously. All right. Oh, it smells amazing. Oh, I cannot wait to use this soap. Cannot wait. Okay, let me move this out of the way. Look at my mess. Look at this. Try to get this open without making a huge mess. So we're gonna add 1/4 ounce of this. There we go. Okay, and I'm just gonna mix that in with my spatula. How cool that looks. Now comes the fun part. And you totally can't see that, so let me adjust my camera. Okay, now we're ready to pour. So a couple of notes about this mold. Number one, this divider has a pin that holds it in. There's actually a notch in the bottom piece that the divider fits into, and then the pin, and this holds it steady for while you're pouring. Secondly, it helps a lot to actually grease the mold with something that's not gonna saponify, another kind of oil, like a mineral oil, for instance, and that's what I used. I just poured some on a paper towel and greased the insides of the mold to make the mold easier to remove after the bar hardens. These are hard plastic sides, so it's not like a silicone mold where it's flexible and you can bend it. So mineral oil does not saponify. That's a perfect thing to use to grease the insides of your mold. So that's what I did. So we are ready to pour, and I probably need to get moving because this yellow batter is already getting pretty thick. So what we're gonna do is give these both a good mix. We've got about equal amounts of the two. And we're gonna pour. Now you wanna pour them at the same time so that you're filling your mold up evenly, relatively. And I have a little bit more of that yellow batter than I do of the calendula batter. That's okay. Okay, so now that I've got both of my two batters poured in, that went relatively well. I didn't make too much of a mess that time. I'm gonna remove the pin from my divider and then just very slowly pull straight up with the divider. Now I'm actually going to try to scrape as I go, so I'm not have so much of that batter stick to the sides. Nice. All right, now I don't want to waste this, so I'm actually gonna just pour this on top and have a bar on this side that's just orange because, you know what, it's just for me. Who cares? Give it a tap. And last but not least, I'm going to spray the top with a little bit of 99% rubbing alcohol to prevent soda ash on the top. And aside from that, I'm just going to clean up my box here and set it in my other room to harden up. So the video I watched on this particular recipe says that it needs to sit for at least 3 days in the mold before trying to unmold it. I imagine that's partly because of the hard sides of the mold and they're kind of difficult to remove. So I'm hoping that having added sodium lactate to the recipe and greasing my molds with mineral oil will help me remove this mold or remove the soap from the mold. So we'll see. I may get impatient and try it after 2 days instead of 3. It's Thursday night right now, and hopefully I can unmold this thing on Saturday. But regardless, I'll be able to unmold it over the weekend and finish this video. I'm also super excited because I went ahead knowing that I already love the craft, even though this is only my second bar of soap, or second loaf of soap, I did go ahead and order a soap cutter. I've seen the bud cutter in so many other soapers recipes, and it's basically a wooden cutter with an acrylic base, and it's a handmade item that I found on Etsy. And the guy uses guitar strings and guitar tuner knobs to actually tighten the steel string to use to cut the soaps. It's a really cool piece of equipment, and I love supporting other crafters. So I was really super excited to get it, and I'm going to be using that to cut this loaf of soap. So super excited about that. But for now, I'm going to put this in my craft room and let it sit, and we will try unmolding it this weekend. So we will see you then. Hey, welcome back, guys. It's Saturday. It's been a couple of days. It hasn't been quite 48 hours, but I just am impatient. So I wanted to see if I could go ahead and unmold this, and I actually was able to fairly easily, so I figured it was ready to go. Here is our finished loaf of soap, and I'm stuck to the paper towel. Here's our finished loaf of soap. Look how cool that looks. I'm really excited to cut this, and oh man, it smells so good, so good. So I did, when I was transporting it, cracked it a little bit on the side, so I'm gonna try to work with that when I'm cutting it. But this is the cutter I was telling you about. I got this from Bud's Workshop. It's a bud cutter on Etsy, but it's Bud's Workshop on Etsy, and I've seen this particular cutter in a lot of videos from other soapers. It cuts a single bar at a time. This is a handmade item. He uses guitar string and guitar tuner knobs to tighten the string. So you can see the string here. And yeah, I'm just like super impressed with the craftsmanship on this. So apparently a lot of other people have been impressed by it too, because I've seen a lot of soapers using it. So I went ahead and ordered one, and I'm gonna use it to cut this bar, and we can see what it looks like on the inside. I think I'm gonna do it on its side. Since we have those calendula petals in one side, those can tend to drag or leave drag marks when you cut your soap. So I think, all right, I'm gonna cut a tiny bit off of the end to trim it. I was not expecting that to go through so easily, but holy cow, that cuts really nice. Okay, I just wanted to trim those end pieces off so I got a smooth edge. All right, my string. Let's see, how big of a bar do I want? Let's see, I think that looks about good. Sure, why not? Here we go. Man, that cuts like butter, seriously. And there's what our soap looks like on the inside. That calendula really does drag through quite a bit. Let me try turning it this way to cut. Soap is still pretty soft, and I just dug my finger in a piece of it, but that's okay too. This soap is just for me. All right, move it down to my block, and there we go, that cut nice. I think that cut nicer. So there's what that finished bar looks like. I'm gonna just go ahead and cut through the rest of these, and then I'll show you a couple of pieces at the end. Yeah, I'm totally digging this cutter. That made things so much easier than trying to cut it with a knife. And every bar is the exact same size. Yeah, that just worked out so much better. I didn't measure my loaf of soap or anything. I just kind of eyeballed where I want my cutter set to, you know, about the size of a bar I wanted, and just went to cutting. And I got 9 equally sized bars out of that, plus just the end of it. And if you remember, I had some of that leftover orange batter and I just kind of put that one on top, and it just so happened that that was about what I had left over at the end. So that'll just be like a little, that'll probably be the first one I try using. I'll just throw that one in the shower in a couple of weeks and see how it does. So yeah, I'm really happy with how these turned out. They're really pretty and they smell so good. And it did seem to work better turning it upside down, where when I was cutting it, this part was on the bottom. So I was cutting through it this way. So this one you can see I had it on its side, and kind of like the calendula like drug really bad to the side over here. But for the ones that I cut upside down, the calendula did drag up some, like towards the top end, but it didn't drag this as bad. See if I can find another one. There's another one that has more calendula in it for a comparison. So definitely think for this recipe, turn it like this to cut it. Cut down through the yellow part first, and then you'll get a better result. So either way, I am really happy with how these turned out. So unfortunately, I can't use them right away because they need a cure. They'll take about 2 weeks to fully saponify, and I'll probably break this little piece out after 2 weeks to use it. It takes 4 to 6 to 8, everybody has a different answer, weeks for these to fully cure, which means they've evaporated all the water that they're going to evaporate, resulting in a harder bar of soap. And the harder the bar of soap, the longer it's gonna last in the shower. So I will probably give it 4 weeks maybe before I start using these, 2 weeks before I start using this one. So yeah, super excited about how these turned out. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I spent some time last night actually writing a new recipe, my first own recipe of soap, and I'm going to make a wine soap, a Merlot soap, and I've actually already ordered the colorants and everything, so as soon as that gets in, I will be doing another video on wine soap, so that should be exciting. It could either be a huge success or a huge failure. Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, I've already got the supplies for that ordered, and as soon as that gets in, I'll be doing that video next. So hope you enjoyed. If you have any suggestions for future videos, let me know in the comments below. And if you did enjoy this video, please like and subscribe for more videos on all things creative. Thanks, everybody.